Hi everyone and welcome to my channel today. Today we're going to be making a shaker card with a little bit of a difference in this one. So the shaker card that I'm showing you here is using the Heartfelt Creations Octagonal dies. So you've got the decorative dies here. And also I've used on this one the decorative dragonflies, which are really pretty. Look at those, aren't they gorgeous? And then I've used a lot of the elements from that same collection. And then obviously you've got your shaker card in the center. Now another one that I want to share with you is one that I did. I think I would have used this one as the demonstration that I did on Create and Craft. So this one is a completely different colorway. So it's the very similar sort of like design. I've used the same papers from the Dragonfly collection, but in a different color. And then of course I've used some vellum here just to layer those up on the dragonflies. And I've kind of gone a little bit different with them. I thought rather than use the same size and the same die, I've actually added some of the smaller ones in there as well, just to add a little bit of interest. And then also I've used some of the elements, but as I say, same collection, same dies, different colorways. How great is that? Really easy and nice to make. Now we all like a shaker card. I really don't know why. They're just fun because once they're sitting on the mantelpiece or on the shelf in somebody's home, they are not going to be moved. But we like something that has a little bit of sort of like interaction within the card. So the one that I'm going to make today is similar kind of design. Okay, so we're going to use I think what we're using on this one, hang on a minute, I can't remember the name. It's the Floral Butterfly collection. So I'm using a completely different collection, similar sort of colours as well though as the dragonfly. You've got your purples and your pinks in there. And then we're also using those same dies. So you've got the simple centerpieces, which I'm using here, which are the outer sort of like edges to give you your base card. And then I'm using the Simply Elegant set, which is this one. And then I'm using this one from the Elegant Heart. I think it's called the Elegant Heart centerpieces. Okay, on that one. So I'm using those two. And then I've used the outer edge of the larger of the octagonal to create my card base. Now, the thing with this one is I'm not 100% sure if we're going to go that way or that way with it. So I think I might actually go tent design on this card. So then I've cut the same die out again to add my top layer, and that actually hides that bit there where you've got that flat bit, because when I've die cut that, I've actually laid that die cut just over that fold. So if you are brand new to creating cards, sort of like your own shaped cards, what you do is you take the die, and I don't have the die on me, and I don't know why I haven't brought it with me. So you actually add that die cut it out with the 2 pages on that fold there. Okay, and you just sort of lay it over slightly. I think actually that might be a video that I should actually add to my collection on here on YouTube, so that for those beginner crafters, you actually know how to use your decorative dies to create your bases, because they are really fun. So I'm going to actually glue this bit because I don't want any glue on that top bit. So we're going to glue the base of the card and add that coloured cardstock there that I've used exactly the same die to cut that out. And as you can see then, that hides where that doesn't match. Now, if you're going to be giving this card away or selling your cards, you might want to do exactly the same the other side, which then will neaten that up on the back. Okay, so where are we going with this now? Right, so I'm then going to add this one. Okay, so we're going to add this one on there. So this is the outer edge of that Simply Elegant die set. And I'm not actually sure, is this the decorative? I'm not sure if this is the decorative dragonfly or the butterfly. This is the butterfly. So yeah, so this is the same paper. I think I've used the same paper all the way through. We're going to pop that on there. So that kind of sits in the center. And then I'm going to I'm just going to work this out if this is going to work. So so I'm just kind of having a play. I just had these extra dies and die cuts, and I thought, well, I might as well use it on this card. So I'm just going to sort of pick certain areas around the edge so it kind of just glues that down. You don't have to glue it all down because it's just really those very edges that need to be flat, because I am actually going to add some more over the top. So then that's going to sit in there, and you can see you just get that really nice edge around there like that. So if I just pop that on, just flatten that up, and then I'm really happy with that. And then the next one I'm going to put on is that elegant heart centerpiece. So I've kept the center in this one. I've added some foam tape on this one that we will just take off. And that's just going to add a little bit of sort of depth to my card. So I could actually go that way. Decisions when you're putting these on, because that would add a lot more interest to my card. The only thing is then that might not be able to sit quite flat. So no, we'll go with this way for now. I'm quite happy with that. As I said, there's different ways that you can pop that down. This one, however, so I've kind of cut out a nice little border using those simple centerpieces, octagonal dies. And this one, just going to add the glue all the way around the edge here. Just a little bit. It doesn't need to be too much glue. You don't have to glue the whole part of that. You're just going to add enough so that all sits down nicely. And then that one, I can do it like that, or I can do it offset. And I'm actually going to add it offset like that. So I've just added a little bit more interest rather than go with the shape of the octagonal die underneath. So that's my base card finished. Well, I say almost finished. I like to finish off the edges. So with this one, I'm going to finish off the edge with the Distress Oxide Wilted Violet. And for that, I will take a dauber and I'm just going to go round the edge, and it just clears up and tidies up the edge of my card. Just make sure I don't get that in. Just takes off that whiteness around the edge. Just move that again. Just hold it up there. Let's move that out of the way because that's getting in the way. So we're just going to pop that around the edge there. So go all the way around the edge with your chosen colour, and it just kind of blends that in nicely. Can you see how that just finishes off that card? So anyway, so if you've just joined me on YouTube, I really do appreciate you following and subscribing to my channel. I've had a lot of new subscribers in the last few days, and I really do appreciate it. So for those of you that really don't know me, I am known as Nikki Craft around the sort of like the craft industry. I'm more probably known as being on Create and Craft TV, demonstrating Heartfelt Creations and lots of other brands sort of like around the world. So that's who I am, and thank you for joining me today, as I've just said. So we're just finished the base card there, look. Okay, so I just think that ink has just finished that off. So we're going to pop that to one side. Now we're going to get into the exciting bit. Let's talk about shakers. Okay, so bring those cards back that we did before. So this one is obviously done with the acetate, and so is this one here. I've used acetate to make my shaker card with. So basically, when we say a shaker card, how you create that is you want to make a pocket. Okay, so how you make a pocket out of acetate. So what I've done is the die wouldn't actually go through the thickness of my acetate. So what I did was I took the die, laid it on to my acetate, went around with a knife, a craft knife, just like this, just went around and kind of scored it, and then I got my scissors and went all the way through. That was the easiest way that I did. If you've got a decent craft knife, you could just go round your die and just go straight through the actual acetate itself. Okay, so that's my top layer. Then I've added some foam. Now the foam that I've used was, I don't actually think it was this thickness, but when you want to make a shaker card, let me just cut that up. depending on how thick you want it. So I wanted a really nice thin area around there, because the only bit that I've got to hide that is this frame here, okay? So you want to do it so that the actual tape can't be seen through whatever you're covering it up with, okay? So I probably should have gone a little bit deeper with that, so I should have used a slightly smaller octagonal die, to be honest, to bring that, because I can see it just a little bit in there, and that's probably going to bug me. However, I do know by the time I've finished adding all the elements to my card, you probably won't see much of it. So I've done 2 layers there, and I didn't have a really thin foam. So what I did was I cut a strip up and I folded it in 2 like that. Obviously you're going to do longer strips, and then if you just trim that to the thickness that you want, you've then got the double thickness that you want, and then that's going to go on like that, okay? So that would be your foam. That's how I've created that one. And because this was octagonal, I actually did cut these in sort of strips to actually stick with the actual shape of the octagonal. If it's just a straight one, you would just do a straight line of the tape. But that's a really good tip, because that means that you don't have to buy lots of different thicknesses of your foam tape. You can just have one thickness and just cut it up. But bear in mind, some foam can mess your scissors up, okay? As you can see here, I have totally messed my scissors up here using cheap foam. So it's just sort of trial and error on what foam to use. I will actually possibly be able to tell you what this one is, and I'm not 100% sure which one it is that I've used. It's actually one I think I ordered off of Amazon, to be fair. And that one's a really nice one because it doesn't stick to my scissors. Okay, so that's the foam bit. So that's what you want to do. You want to add some depth in between your acetate and your actual paper to make your shaker with. Now, what I was doing was I was sort of like having a play, and I thought, right, okay, so how am I going to do this? So I've just done some examples here of what I've done here. So I've used some little tiny prills in here, and the little tiny prills are some Dress My Craft prills that I've used. And then I've just added some sequins in there as well. And then I've just covered that up. Now this one's totally flat. Okay, so I wanted to show you different variations of a shaker card that you can make. So this one is totally flat. So I haven't got too much in there, and they are very tiny pieces and elements in there. So that means that that allows for that still to shake. So that means that if you're making a card to put through the post and you don't want too much thickness, then you can just use 2 sheets, your acetate, and a sheet of paper to create your shaker. Then I thought, right, let's have a go. Let's have a look to see what some vellum looks like. Wasn't really happy with this one, to be honest. You can get some thinner vellum. It works. I think it's very pretty, but you can't really see the shaker elements in there. But if you went for a much thinner vellum, I think that might actually look a little bit nicer. But I thought I'd share with you. It was just an experiment that I did, and I thought, not really happy with it. You could also stamp a sentiment on there as well if you wanted, and then put that together, stamp it and heat emboss it before you put it on. But I wasn't really too happy. Then this one is one I thought, right, okay, let's make one with just one thickness of your tape. So that's just 2 thicknesses. This one's just your thin one, and that one still works. So that means that will sit nicely on your card. But this one, as I say, I'm going with 2. Okay, so we're going to take my backing. That's my backing, and then I'm going to add my little bits in there. So the colours that I'm kind of going for, I'm going to bring this back. So I'm looking at mainly probably purples in this one. So I'm going to keep to them sort of shades in my shaker piece. So I've got, these are what we call sort of glitter rocks. Okay, so these again are from Amazon. I will add some details in the description if you're not 100% sure, but I won't link it because I'm not actually, I don't have an Amazon sort of like shop. So then these are some sort of like crushed, sort of like, I'm not really sure even what they're called. I don't know where I know where I got them from. They are actually from a place called the Glitter Hut. Okay, a brilliant shop. I actually started purchasing from them when I actually started making my resin. Whoops, now I'm just dropping everything. This is just some thick glitter. Again, this is from the Glitter Hut. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? And then it's also got a pearl in there. I don't want that pearl in there. That's too big. Don't want you in there. Come out, come out. Don't know how he managed to jump in that little pot, but you can come out. But I've also got some tiny little pearls in there. Let me just grab them. So the little pearl, you perhaps can't see it, and I won't lift it up yet, but I will lift it up to show you in a bit. These are some tiny little pearls. They come in different sizes, again from the Glitter Hut. They go sort of like in a medium. They do them in mil, so if you check those out, I will put a link below in the description. And they also do them in that really nice creamy ivory colour. The glitter that I was just showing you, they do various different glitters. This was that one here. That's the glitter, and they come in really nice packs, so you don't have to repack them if you don't want to. You can just get yourself some of these little spoons, or even your good old lollipop sticks to take those out with. So that's what we're going to fill it up with. So it's got some little pearls in there, which you can't see at the moment. Then I'm going to add some little tiny prills. So these are the Dress My Craft prills, so in purple. And then, don't know what it is, but I cannot have, oh, that's my stomach. So you cannot have a shaker card without your good old sequins. And again, these are some Dress My Craft, and these have also got some pearls in as well. And I can see there's some big pearls in there, so I'm just going to go with it. But I want the predominant colour to be that purple, so I'm actually going to come in again just with a little bit more purple, with those sort of your little crystal rock things in there. So we're just going to flatten that out. And then, because I've done, so as I say, if you're not going to use double thickness, you don't want to put too much in, but because I've done double thickness of my foam, I can actually, oops, come out the way, really just go to town with that, what I've got in there, because that will take a little bit more. Now what I am going to do, even though this is sticky, I am going to add, using my glue gun, some glue. And I'll tell you why, because after a while I've found that the stickiness actually goes, and then everything falls out of my shaker card. And those of you that have come to my classes, that have picked a card up off the side in my craft room, will know exactly what I mean. So I just doubly make sure that that is going to stay put. So there, quite happy with that. Just put in there. So as I say, I've gone around the edge. The acetate doesn't actually quite have to be absolutely perfect. And you cut it round. So there I have my shaker card, but then of course you have to cover the tape up. So with this one, I've used those octagonal dies, and I will just glue that down, just using some PVA glue. This does actually glue to my acetate. Now, not all glues will glue to acetate. Just bear that in mind when you are gluing anything onto acetate. So we're just going to glue that on there, like that. As I say, you can see I'm not 100% happy with it. Am I going to use it on this card? I don't know. Right now I'm stuck for choices, because I've also got this one. I forgot to show you this one. So this one, I put some ribbon on. Okay, you might ask yourself, okay, why has Nikki put ribbon on? Nikki's put ribbon on so that I've also added some Velcro on the back, so that I could actually add that to my card. The recipient can actually take that off and hang it up, look, like that. That's the idea of that one. Okay, So that was a great idea. I forgot to show you that. And then I also forgot to mention how I've decorated them. So I've just used some pearls on this one just around the top. That's a flat one, so I didn't need to bother around the edges. But then to cover up around the edge, because I'm a little bit of a stickler for everything has to look correct from all angles, I've just added some pearls on string all the way around. But underneath, I've just added a thin piece of the coordinating cardstock that I've used on there to cover up that foam tape. Then with this one, this was only the single layer of the foam, and I've just used some very thin, and these came off of, I think these might have been from eBay actually, but these just come on a strip and they are sticky, so you would just peel them off like that, and then you could just pop that around. These are really nice to use on lots of things when you're making your cards or your projects. And then also, if I want to use them singly, what I do is I just snip them off so I can use them singly as well. So pearls you can cover around the edges. You could use some diamantes. You could just use some glitter around the edge just to cover that up if you want to. So this one, if I want to cover that up, so these will just fit in absolutely perfectly around there. Can you see? I would just glue that around the edge like that with either some double-sided tape or my glue gun. Pop that around the edge like that, and that will just finish off the edge of that shaker. So I've got loads of different shakers here. Now, which one am I going to use? And this is where, when I do this live, I'd be saying, come on guys, help me. Which are we going to use? But I think, decisions. I'm actually going to go with the one that I did, even though I'm not 100% happy with it. So what I will do is, where have I done with them pearls? There we go. I will just add those pearls around the edge. So I'm just going to add some glue using my hot glue gun, because that's going to be a lot quicker, because obviously I'm recording this. Putting quite a lot of glue in there to make sure it actually sticks around the edge like that. And then just pull that off and just work my way around the edge there, just getting as, trying not to get too much messy with the glue, but I need enough on there to make sure that sticks. And it's just going to finish off around the edge there. And I just need to measure that, so I'll just trim that about there. Just take my scissors, and I think it's about there. Yeah, perfect. Right, and just finish that off just with that extra bit of glue. So I'm not 100% happy with how I've finished that off, but when I actually finish the card, I know when I decorate this up, most of that is actually going to be hidden anyway. And then I need to add that to my card. Okay, so as I say, there's this one that I've actually added. These are some Velcro. So if I was going to add that, I'd add that bottom bit of Velcro on there, put that on, and then the recipient can take that off. But obviously when you're adding your elements want to be stuck to just this part. Okay, like this, you would just glue those on like that, for example. So when the recipient takes that off, they've actually got that whole bit that's decorated, if that kind of makes sense. Does that make sense to you all? I hope so. Just leave a message in the comment if you're saying, Nikki, I don't get that, I don't understand it, because I can actually make this one up and do another little video with it if you really wanted me to. So as I say, there's some Velcro double-sided stickers that I've used that for. So let's bring this back. So I'm going to put this on. So make sure you've got the card in the right top. So the scored part is at the top there. And I want this to stick down absolutely perfectly. So I am actually just going to use my glue gun, because that's going to be, again, instant. You can actually see the heat off of that. You think, oh, it's actually steamed up the inside of the shaker card there. There we go. Just pop that on. And there is my base card with my shaker card on. And then we need to grab some elements. So what are we going to use on this one? Let me just move my little pearls and things out of the way because they're going to go flying else. And we don't want that. Move some of these shakers out of the way as well. Right, so what am I going to use? Nikki uses a lot. You all know, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I love to add my elements. So the ones that I used were the decorative dragonflies on the ones that I showed you at the beginning of the video. These are elements, I do believe, maybe from a bit of both. So I've got the floral butterfly and the decorative dragonfly. So I'm going to use some of these elements. But then I kind of decided, I looked on the side and I thought, you know what, Nikki, you made these the other week and you've still got them sitting on the side and you haven't used them yet. So these are the Climbing Clematis. These are the Heartfelt Creations ones. And I do have a video, which I will put a link to in the description. I'm not sure which one it is. It's in one of my flower making series. And I think it might be possibly the third one. I'm not 100% sure, but when I do my description, I will put a link in there so that you can find that video if you like these. These are actually made from the flower foam. And I thought they'd work really well with all the elements. I'm just sort of like grabbing bits of pieces that I've got. I'm also going to put 2 butterflies on. So for the butterflies, I coloured these using my daubers, and they kind of started off like this. Really easy and quick. And let me see if I've got some cardstock so I can just put those on to colour them with. So usually when I'm doing my colouring, when I'm not doing a video, I actually use a glass mat, but to make it a little bit more pleasing to the eye, I've actually covered this mat with it's just some vinyl that I've covered it with, and I don't like to get it all messy with my ink. So I'll just sort of like cut that up. So let's grab some colours. Yeah, so it is a glass mat, but it isn't a glass mat, if that makes sense. Right, so let's go in with some colours. And I've only got, for some reason, oh no I haven't, I've got a yellow here. Don't like that yellow. Hang on, bear with me everybody, because I have got one of my favourite greens here. The reason I like this one is because it's sort of like a really lime green, and that's my Twisted Citron, and it's going to work well because I've actually used that as well to colour some of the stems here as well. So we're just going to go down the centre of the butterfly, nice and easy. Sometimes I do like to spend a little bit more time colouring, and I have with some of these elements here, look, so I have actually used my Derwent colouring pencils, but then sometimes it's really nice just to make something really easy and quick using your daubers and some of the inks. So the inks I'm using today are I'm using a bit of everything, to be fair. I am using, what we got, we don't want that, there's far too much colour on that. That's what I use to ink around the edge of the cards. I'm just taking that colour off. So that was the, I think, was it Villainous Potion, or it might have been Wilted Violet. So we'll just add a little bit purple around there. And I like to do both sides of the butterfly, like that, look. Just blending that in, and then I'm going to go in with favourite colour, Memento Teal Zeal. This is one of my favourite colours on this one. So we're going to go in, just take some of that colour, and I always like to take some of it off because you can always add but you can't take away. So just go in there, blend that in, take that up right up to the centre, I think, on there, and then take some more colour off there, and just go in there. So you are going to want to do kind of each wing very similar or the same, and then we will go back in with that purple, I think, at the bottom there, and just blend that up like that. And there we have a beautiful butterfly. So you can do it in the colours that you're going to be using all your elements with, so whichever one colours suits the card that you're making. And then I'm just going to put the lids on my inks here, get those out of the way, and then else am I going to do? Right, now, what have I got here? Hang on a minute, just putting this back. Right, so let's just take that paper away. So I've got my butterflies, okay. Now I love to use vellum over the top of my butterflies. I think it's a really delicate way of getting some movement in there on your butterfly wings, like that look. But what I've also done is, on this one, I've used what is called Tulle. I don't know. It's a material that is used in dress designing, and I've seen them make little fairy wings with them. But what I've done is, it comes in like a roll, and this is from Amazon, and I will put the name of it. I might even link it, to be honest, because look at that, isn't that gorgeous? This has actually got a glitter on it. And what I did was I sort of like folded it, and I think you can cut out about 4 layers at a time, just using the die. Don't worry about stamping it or anything, because it really doesn't work. I did try here, and I know you probably can't see, but I did give it a go, and it just wasn't worth it. So you might as well just die cut them out. And then that, you see, you would layer them up, glue in between. Now the best way to glue is just either using your glue gun or a little bit of PVA glue or some tape even. Add in various different colours. So that was a rainbow shade that I'd showed you. Okay, making sure that's right. Hold on a minute, it's moving now. Stop moving, there we go, there. And then that's 2 wings there. Add another one. That isn't going to glue, so I'll tell you what, I'm going to sit that down, bring that cardstock over again, because I don't want to get, because you don't want to put it on an area because it will go through. But then let's just go with the teals, because I've ruined that other bit. There we go. And it's sort of like a rainbow colour. I think I've got 2 or 3 different colours in this, and there's absolutely huge amount on one roll. But, hold on a minute, it's sticking to me, like that. I'm just trying to show you if I hold that up, so you can really see how gorgeous that is. And it's just something a little bit different that you can do with your butterflies. Could have actually done this as a separate video, to be honest. But if you want a little bit more in-depth detail on this, just leave me a comment, because I'm quite happy. This is what I'm here for, to help you guys, whether or not you've been crafting for years or whether you're new to crafting, to give you what you want to learn. So I happily do a complete video on sort of like your butterflies and your dragonflies and your vellum wings all in one video if you want me to. But look at that, how gorgeous is that? Look, that is amazing. It's so pretty. Oh, I could imagine that actually, that would look so good on a or what am I thinking, sort of like if you doubled them up like that long, put some little twine between it and make a, oh, I can't think what you call it. What do you call it? A mobile, a baby mobile or something. How cool would that be? Okay, so there's my little butterfly with the wings. Now I want to use that one now, and I don't want to use these ones, but you could actually use a bit of both on there. Now sometimes I do add some colour to the back of my vellum, but I do like to actually see what's underneath. So you're only going to add a little bit of glue down the centre, whether or not you're using the tulle or you're using vellum or you're using like an acetate over there, and that means you've got the movement in your butterflies. And then I've got one here as well. So we will go with the vellum on this card, okay, because I've already got it here. So a little bit of glue, and then pop that on there in the middle. Then you can lift that up once it's on your card or your project. You can lift those wings up when you put them on. So we're going to put 2 of those floral butterflies on. We'll put that one away, but as I say, if you want more details on that, I can do another video for you, but I just wanted to share that idea with you. I did this actually last year. I'll be honest with you, I had this card prepped and ready to use last year, but then I stopped doing my videos because life kind of got in the way. So I'm kind of back now, and I thought, oh, let's sort of like add a little bit more. So I'm going to use these on this one. So I've kind of changed it up from the original one that I planned on doing. So I have got a sentiment somewhere that has absolutely disappeared. I have no idea where it is, and it said happy birthday or something, because I was going to add it. Let me just have a look, see if it's on my desk somewhere, but it isn't because it's totally flown away. Right, so we're going to have no sentiment on this one, but never mind. So as I say, I'm using some elements from the Floral Butterfly. If you just, how I'm going to do this. So my sentiment would have come across there, I think, on this. We haven't got one, but I can always add one at a later date. So these leaves, these like fern leaves, I'm just kind of just trimming down. I have added a little bit of shaping on them using my flower shaping tool, and there will be a link to my eBay. I have actually got a special offer on the flower shaping tools. I think they're about £20 on my eBay if you want to take a look, if you don't have the flower shaping tool. And that's this tool here. Comes with 13 pieces. You've got your 10 nibs in there as well, and we'll add some dimension to these in a second. Let me just show you. So just bring that over. I'm going to bring, oh, that's a really dirty tool there. So they're actually magnetic, and they just clip in the tip there. And then you'll bring in your elements, and it just adds a little bit of dimension. If you just roll that in there. So I'm using quite a small tip for that one. Then I'm going to go in and use a slightly larger tip to add some dimension to the actual leaves on there. And then if you look at that, I think that's sort of like made it a little bit more realistic, a little bit more lifelike. So you can do that to your elements. And then we're going to start adding these to my card. So we're just going to bring that one up at the top. So what I'm looking at is I'm bearing in mind that I want to add my clematis. Okay, so I'm going to just add a few pieces as a backdrop to my floral display on the edge. So I'm just trimming them up and then just adding that there. Always sort of glue in the same position, sort of like so they're coming from here as though I'm doing a floral display. And then I'm going to bring one of those as well. This one I am actually going to trim off there. So these are all bits the bits that I'm trimming off I could use either on this card or on another card. I never throw them away like that. Sort of like get the colours right. So I've got a bit of that colour over there. So we'll pop some of that here on this side like that. And then I'm just going to have a look. So I've got my clematis. I think I probably won't go over the top with the clematis. Maybe just add about 3. Not 100% sure. You know what I'm like. I might add a few more as I go along. But I want to get these on before I start adding too much behind it. I can always add behind it. But I've got my basic shape there. And then I'm just going to bring that in. So I don't want to cover too much of the shaker card. Don't forget that is the sort of like the focal point of the actual card that we've made. So we don't want to cover too much up, but just enough. I'm going to bring, do you know what? I'm actually going to bring a leaf down the bottom there. That's one of the ones that I've cut off. And that is going to go there at the bottom, like that. So if you can see where I've gone with that one, just building that up, taking that medium. So I've used small, medium and large clematis on this one. Just bring that down there. And then this side, I think I might just keep just to one nice focal clematis on this side, like that. And then we can start building it up with some more of these elements. So I've got a really nice deep purple here. Now I've only got one spray of these, so I want to bring some deep purple in this side as well. So I've cut that up. We'll put the one with the two on this side. Here, so glue that there. And just, as I say, it's so hard because you don't want to cover up the actual shaker. So we'll go under there we go, to bring that dark purple in. Then I've got that one that I cut off that will go the other side. So just, my flowers move there, look, so we need to just pop him there. That one can go up there. So as you see, I'm adding quite a lot of depth with this. Kind of want quite a bit of movement with it. So I've got this purple one here. Just add that there. So I've got a little bit of the teal. It's a really pale teal that I've got there. I'll actually bring that side. So we'll bring that up there. So as I say, bear in mind, I would put a sentiment on, but I don't know where the sentiment's gone. But having said that, I've actually gone a little bit too far. I've covered too much of my shaker up. So what I'm going to do is just gently move that over there. That's better. Getting carried away with putting my florals on, and I'm hiding too much of my shaker card. Okay, so we'll just trim that. So I'm trimming some of the lengths of these so you don't see the actual bottoms, bringing that up the top there. So I'm kind of going round there, going around with the shape of the actual design. Oh look, I like that one, but I've got two. I'm going to put that one up there, so I'm going to trim that so that actually sits down a little bit further, and we'll put that one that side. Okay, so it's all getting about balance when you're putting the florals on a card. It's about anything, you know, you want to get the balance right. If you've got too much going on this side and not quite enough that side, it can kind of look sometimes a little bit out of balance. I'll add this one. Maybe too, if I put that one in there, you see, I'm getting too much purple this side. So that's perfect, look. So I'll use this one, and I think I am actually going to stop. Although having said that, when I've actually finished the video, I might add a few more elements. I will definitely be adding some glitter to it, without a doubt. But I'm actually quite happy with that look. Can you see that? Really pleased with it. And then, just got two more things to add. Of course, we've got our butterflies. So I really don't know where that sentiment's gone. I had it a minute ago. Before I started the video, I had everything sat here, all in place. So I'm going to put my butterfly there, because if you looked, I purposely left a bit of a gap there. So that one's going to go there. And then this slightly smaller one will come over this side here. So just lifting those wings up. Pop that there. So where are we going to put that one? I'm going to sit that one just there, a little bit higher, so it isn't quite, I don't want it quite the same height, sort of like, I don't want it sort of like opposite each other totally. So I've kind of brought that up slightly. Oh, look at that. I love it. Absolutely love it. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So I really hope you've enjoyed my video today. As I say, leave a comment in the bottom if there's anything you're not sure of, if you want to ask me a question. And do follow me on social media. You can find me on Facebook at Nikki Craft. You can find me on Instagram at Nikki Craft Designs. And I've also got a group, which is, I think we've got about over 4,000 members now, and that is called Nikki and Friends Crafting with Heartfelt and More. We use lots of different products in there. And I've also got a class group. So if you are interested in doing an online class with me, you can find my online class group at, what is it called? I haven't think about it now. It's called Crafting at Home with Nikki Craft Designs. But I will put a link in the bottom if you didn't quite catch that, because even I can't remember. It's been a very long day today. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you. Bye.